recall, there's a movement afoot to renovate and expand the town library. One of the first issues that popped up was, in order to borrow money, the town can't borrow money since the town does not own the building. We asked the Board of Trustees to go out and find some potential solutions, and they came back with 3. So it's basically 3 models out there that other towns have done, because clearly we're not the only town in Massachusetts that doesn't own the library and yet wanted to have some renovations or expansions done and borrow money for it. They came back with 3 potential options. We talked about it a little bit here. We talked about it with the trustees one evening. They talked about it at their meetings. We sort of decided that maybe a good way to go would be have a smaller subcommittee work on the issue and bring something forward rather than 25 people talk about all 16 possibilities. And we did that. You want to pick up the ball from there?
Yep, so what we did in our small subcommittee, if you will, is Ms. Baird, myself, Mr. Kalanick, Mr. Lanphier, along with Mr. Brome, kind of went through the pros and cons, if you will, of each of the different agreements. And fairly early on, we decided the quote-unquote long metal method was the best way to go forward with this particular project. And as such, we were able to obtain a copy of the long metal model. We were able to amend the language, if you will, such that it addressed the Clapham Memorial Library in the town of Belchertown. And then we actually decided one of the things that we would probably have to do and certainly would make sense to include it as part of the operating agreement was to show who's responsible for what and so on and so forth. Because frankly, what from a financial perspective, because frankly, what became fairly apparent early on is there was going to be a lot of questions about financially who's responsible for so on and so forth. So the best way to encapsulate that and really to set it in stone, if you will, is to put it into the contract itself so that it's not ambiguous, that there is delineation between what the Board of Trustees are responsible for, what the town of Belchertown is responsible for. So ultimately, and this is where we want to end up, when this particular project does go before the town for a town meeting vote, people will have all the information before them, so they can make an informed decision, either yay or nay, and then we can move forward with that regard. So with that as a leaping off point, the Board of Trustees took their attempt, if you will, to finalize the agreement, to incorporate some of the questions that the Board of Trustees have, and that's what brings us before us tonight. We have, and correct me if I'm wrong, I guess a trustee-approved document in front of us?
That's correct.
And now what we're going to do is, now it's up to the Board of Selectmen, who hopefully everyone's had a chance to take a quick run through here. And this way what we'll be able to do is address, or at the very least discuss, issues or questions that the board might have with regards to this, because ultimately what we'd like to do is have both boards agree this is the operating agreement as we move forward, and then turn it over to the town and get public input. What does the public think? They're the ones that are ultimately going to be voting on it, so that's ultimately where we want to be. So,
well, just to back up, I have to step on that. Based on the conversation here tonight, and what we'd like to do is send it to the town council.
Correct. Yes, I always forget those lawyers.
So the idea was the Board of Trustees got a chance to look at it and see if there was something they might wish to include or omit from it before they send it to their town council.
Right.
And it turned out there was no major changes from your side?
No, not really.
No? Okay. And so now the question to this board is there anything that leaps out at you that you, either from omission or commission, that we need to address before we send it to the lawyers for their opinion? So this is not anything cast in stone. This is what we think is our best first draft at it as a subcommittee. And anything else?
Just one thing. I think that it was obvious from the 3 or 4 meetings that the subgroup had that we did not want, and nor did the two who were representing the selectmen, we didn't want to change the expenditure piece. So pretty much the operation of the library is going to remain the same. The expenditures of the town would remain the same. The expenditures of the library would remain the same. So in those categories, things really haven't changed very much. There were a couple things that we did change. you know, one of the obvious pieces was it's going to be a 99-year term for the conveyance of the property from the Platt Memorial Library Incorporation to the town. But everything else should pretty much be the same.
No, you're
Right.
giving us the library forever,
Right.
and we're giving an
And
operating
operating,
agreement for
right.
99 years.
Yes.
And then, as the operating agreement says, when 99 years are up, you will again enter into another 99-year agreement. That's what I was implying.
Sure. But I think it's critical for folks to understand that the library will be gifted from the Platt Memorial Library Board of Trustees to the town of Belchertown. So it will be a town of Belchertown library, therefore completely legal to borrow money for. That's the primary. That was the primary goal, is to make sure we can borrow money legally. And this is one of three possibilities, but it does imply that the Platt Memorial Library is being given to the town of Belchertown.
That's right.
But at the same time that is happening, at the same town meeting, there will be executed, we hope, an operating agreement that spells out that basically nothing changes from the operation of the library. It will continue to be operated as a free public library. It will be continued to be operated with the same staff. It will be continued to be supported financially in the same manner as it has been for years, namely the town pays for most of it, the library pays for some of it, and we've even itemized in Exhibit A what those kinds of expenditures are.
At the present time, the town buys the books for the library.
Yes, sir.
That comes out of the allocation of monies that we use for the maintenance of the library.
Yes, sir.
Stocking the new library would be a substantial amount of money.
Well, it depends if you fill every shelf on day one, which is probably unlikely.
Well, on day two, let's say day two.
Well, I was
Somewhere along the line, the shelves have to be stocked.
You're right. And that's going to be over a period of time. It's not going to be over a year or 2 years. I mean, we're providing enough space, hopefully, that, you know, over time we can have a full stocking. But, and some of that money comes from the MIG and LIG grants that we get from the state. That money is also used to purchase, you know, reading material for
So when a new library opens, it's not gonna be a whammo for the town.
Absolutely not.
To come up with the money to stock the shelves.
No, that won't happen.
There are also funds out there, I believe the Susan B. Bridgman Fund, that allocates so much
I would
per
hope that
year.
those would be used.
So, I mean, there's a combination of funds that go into purchasing the
And
books.
the Friends of the Library raises thousands of
Right.
dollars too.
And as they said, I can see this as a work in process, that on day one, even year 2, year 3, are we going to have everything look the same as it is 20 years down the road? No, this is a work in process.
And Al, I think maybe the larger question that you're kind of heading is, what's the operational cost going to be?
Well, absolutely.
Obviously, something that townspeople are very
They have to
interested
be,
in.
they have to be discussed, because people have to know that it's not gonna be the same maintenance bill as it is today.
And that's one of the reasons why we really liked what I'll refer to here as Exhibit A, because it truly delineates. So it's easy enough to put a dollar figure from an operational standpoint, a dollar figure next to some of these line items.
The simpler that this is put together, the better chance we have of getting it approved on the people, if they can understand it. You can't give them all this.
Agreed.
Because I try
Absolutely
reading it all and I get lost in it.
Agreed.
So keep it simple and let the people know exactly what we're talking about and how much debt could be incurred by the town, and we have a chance of floating this thing through and getting it done.
And I think the trustees, I mean, we had some discussions in regards to that, and trustees are more than aware
A
that,
lot of work has gone into this.
identifying the costs is huge.